Hey, it is Mary, and I am coming at you live from St. Pete Island in Florida, and I'm at the Tradewinds Resort. So I'm here this week to talk at a conference about teen depression. So I thought it'd be really kind of cool. You can see my background. I got these beautiful bushes behind me. At my feet is a whole bunch of sand, and I'm going to talk Wednesday. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to do it live on Facebook, so you guys will be there also. It's called This Ain't the Sound of Music, and it's all about teenage depression, what to look for. So we're going to go over the red flags, how to receive and accept, which means how to really work through it and accept where they are, and then recovery and how long that can take. It's a really crazy, windy road. So that's what we're going to be discussing on Wednesday, and that's going to be at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to 2:30. So if you miss it, don't worry. I'm sure we'll be able to upload it to YouTube when we're done. It's going to be a 45-minute talk and then a 45-minute breakout session. So we may not film the breakout session. That really kind of depends on what's going on and how it goes. But this morning, we are going to talk about, good morning, we're going to talk about your destination isn't here and why that is so important. Because I really want you to understand that wherever it is that you start out, wherever it is your child is starting out, that's not where they're going to be forever. It's not where you're going to be wherever. Here's a great example, okay? 5 years ago today, I went for this crazy life-saving surgery. Only 6 people in the world had ever had it done. 6. And number 6, they nicked their spinal cord and they died. So maybe only 5 people had it done. My chance of surviving was only 10%. I needed to have what was called a celiac artery bypass. And basically what happened was I had a birth defect that was causing all of my organs to die. They were getting no blood. So if I look back 5 years and I take where I started 5 years ago, where Jules was extremely anxious that I was going to die. Sarah was extremely anxious I was going to die. My husband was anxious I was going to die. I was anxious I was going to die. My parents were anxious I was going to die. Guess what? I wouldn't be here today. But because my attitude was, I'm going to make it. I've got that 10%. I'm going to grab that 10% and go with it. Here I am today talking to you with my locking key that Jules made me 5 years ago to remind me that I had the key to her heart. So that's why I'm wearing these today, and that's why I'm really here today to let you know your destination isn't here. You have a place to go. Your child has a place to go that's not here. And where they are is fine. But understand that tomorrow isn't guaranteed to be like today. Yesterday I was in Charlotte. I wasn't at the beach. And here I am today at the beach. Keep that in mind. Do not determine your future or your present by your yesterday. Don't waste it, all right? I know a lot of us, we get caught up in our identity, and we forget that we aren't what happens. And our identity comes before activity. So if you want your activity to be better, you need to look at your own identity and say, is that really where I want it to go? All right. So the voice that we believe is going to be what determines our future experience. And the same goes for your child. The voice that they believe determines their future. So what do you want them to believe? So we're going to go over 3 points today. We're going to go over goals, guidance, and growth. Those are the 3 things that really help everyone, no matter the situation, no matter what it is, go from where they are to where they're going. Think about this. So let's talk about goals, all right? If you're going on a road trip, I just went on one yesterday. If you're going to go on a road trip, you put something into your GPS, right? You don't just drive aimlessly, especially if you don't know where you're going. Well, if you or your child are suffering from anxiety or depression, you probably don't know where you're going because you don't know where you want to be. Or maybe you think you know where you want to be, but you don't know how to get there. That's what goals are for. You really have to think about where do you want to be before you start, and start right where you are. Not, when I lose 10 pounds, when I talk better to my kids, when I'm feeling better. No, none of that. You start right where you are. And starting right where you are enables you to be just as flawed as you really are. Because let's face it, we are flawed. I'm flawed. I'm sure you're flawed. So being able to start right where you are and giving yourself permission to do that means you also give your child permission to start exactly where they are, in the depths of their despair, in the middle of their anxiety. But here's the key to setting goals, people. You have to write them down. You have to write them. Because if you don't write them, you actually haven't made that connection in your neurotransmitters that they need to go forward to follow through with it. So just having this ambiguous goal, well, I want to feel better. Well, what does that mean? You have to be able to identify it in order to get there. Just like, I want to go for a drive. Well, where do you want to go? I don't know. Well, you're never going to get there. So So you have to know where you're going and write it down. That is like your personal goal GPS. Without writing it down, you don't make those connections. All right, so that you have to have a goal. You have to help your child. All right, you really have to help them figure out where it is that they want to go. What do they want to do? That's your job. Okay, that's where point 2 comes in, which is guidance. Sometimes you really have to fight your mind with your mouth. You really have to talk out loud and say, brain, this is bullshit. We're not going to do that. And you have to do that with your kids. But you might not want to use the word bullshit. Really depends on your relationship with them. But understand that our enemy is more within.